Mic check.
Mic check. What up? What up? What up?
What up, man?
I can hear my echoing in your speakers.
Okay.
Hold on.
Oh, you good? You sound
It
good
might be
now,
me.
man.
Hold on. Let me change one thing. All right, here we go. Good now. Good now. It was on my end.
Yeah.
What up, man?
What up, man?
Chilling. Yo, note to self on the intro at the last part. I got to turn that down because that was super. I saw us both move our headphones out the way. That joint is super loud.
Exploded for real.
Yeah, my bad. But everything good with you?
Oh yeah, man. Sunday taking it easy. Spring cleaning, just getting stuff ready for this move. So I gotta get my company. Please don't do that to you, Payne. I see you over there driving. Please don't do it.
Unpopular.
You don't have to auto tune.
Unpopular celebrities.
I apologize, ladies and gentlemen.
Go.
I apologize, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, we're good.
You must have had your energy drink already today. You hype.
Yeah, hit the gym. What's your gym workout look like?
After this. I've been busy so morning. I'm gonna go the evening time. So
oh man.
Don't worry, it's getting done. Games are getting made, don't worry.
I got a new sound. Like an announcer. Okay.
I don't hear it.
Yo, but real quick, man. We got to shout out our sponsor for the show for this evening.
Oh, yeah.
Valor Vacations. I'm going to ask you the same question. When last time you took a vacation, big dog?
I ain't never took a vacation.
He said never. That's a cat. That's cat.
That boy said never. Boat vacation. Or a tour or a cruise.
Yeah. Well,
you
we got to
wait for you on that?
Yeah, man. Let me help you out, bro. Hold on. I got to read this. Valor Vacations, a veteran-owned franchise specializing in cruise and land and tour vacations. They proudly support our military friends and families and are committed to finding special rates and discounts for you. Whether you're celebrating a milestone event or just want to get away with loved ones, our team can help you plan the perfect vacation tailored to your needs. Their in-depth knowledge, personal experience, and strong relationships with cruise lines and tour companies will guide you to your best options. So make sure you get out there, get on a vacation, make it happen. Contact them at 1-855-VALOR-ME. That's 1-855-825-6763 for personal assistance and exclusive offers for our military people. Get some cruises, go out there, get some all-inclusive vacations. Valor Vacations, hit them up. Shout out to them for the sponsors of the show. Make sure y'all get out there, get your R&R in, make it happen.
Definitely.
Let's go.
Definitely need that recharge when I get back.
Yeah, you're going to need that, bro.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to play my T-Pain joint. But anyway, special guest.
Working, bro.
Yeah, we got a special guest for today's show. I'm very excited to talk some basketball. It's the NBA Finals. Real quick, Dale, who you got?
Today or the whole series?
The whole thing. Well, let's say today. No, let's say today because we'll be back on the show.
Today, I think the Mavericks tied up, but Celtics in 6.
I'm put a $300 bet on the Mavericks. If you lose, I need that bet. But today's guest, head coach for the Luke Air Force Base men's basketball team, also coach for the women's, I'm going to say this wrong, all Armed Forces basketball team, winner of the Pac West 2023-2024 championships, Luke Air Force Base own Coach P.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
What's good with you? I don't know where my clapping noise go. Hold on.
I don't think none of your control is working.
Oh, man. Yay! All right, we'll get it. Man, what's going on? Oh, that works.
You need Philly DC, but I think you can only hear it, but we can't.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't like that. We'll get that worked out. We'll get that. Coach P, what's up? What's good with you?
Another beautiful day here in beautiful sunny Arizona. As I look out the window now and see that sun telling me to stay inside.
You said, beautiful day. You ain't been outside yet.
I went out earlier, went to the gym, and hurry up and came right back home.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. What gym you went to?
EOS, right up here off Bell Road. Little 5-minute drive. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. What about to say, man? I'm trying to figure out why these sounds don't work. But anyway, it's pissing me off right now. But we'll go back to zero. Anyway, Coach, man, tell the people who you are, where you're from. Tell them about yourself a little bit before we start grilling with questions.
All right. Coach Paris Daniel. Everybody calls me Coach P. I don't know how that started, but that seems to be the thing now. Originally from Chicago, Illinois. Retired. Yeah, as you can't tell, retired out of Luke here in 2014, arrived here in 2012, 2014. Took a couple of leap years, gap years, as I like to tell my wife, where I basically just sort of hung out for a little bit. Went down, worked at the VA 2016, 17 time frame. Then moved here on base in 2000 and let's see, I've been at the education office now since 2020, I believe, sometime around there. And I've been coaching the base basketball team since 2018.
Man, 2018. That's what's up. So tell me we'll start at the beginning. I'm sure you played ball or played some kind of sports back in the day. So tell me about your growing up playing sports.
I grew up playing sports, most like, everybody else. It was the era where kids actually played outside. Baseball, basketball, football, did all that, in grammar school, through high school, joined the military. And, I always say if there was a flag football Hall of Fame, I'd definitely be in that. That without a doubt. For them years at Barksdale at Yokota, because I was a terror out there. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. And played on, varsity basketball teams, pretty much every base that I was at. One of those guys, much like yourself, intramurals. Intramurals was like life. I was that airman that, if I couldn't get off work and go to a game, I really was walking around there mad, like contemplating, like, what if I just walk off the flight line and go anyway? That type stuff, right? So that's how that's how much it meant to me. Like, how much trouble could I get in if I just go play and then come back? I'm coming back. So how mad can they be? That's type of guy I was. Which I sort of remembered that when I became a supervisor, when I was in those situations, those positions, because I knew how much it mattered to me. And I think that's something that's been lost in supervision right now. Especially what I see in Luke, but that's a whole nother subject. And just one of those guys, like most red-blooded American males, I just love sports. Always have, always will. Fun fact, I don't say never wanted to coach basketball, but never thought I would coach basketball. My first year coaching was at Lake and Heath in 2012. But to back up real quick to explain how it happened, in 2011, I happened to walk by the mirror and I didn't like what I saw. Somehow I become skinny fat. And I, living that master sergeant life, I was in a section. I had 104 people underneath me in my section. So I would get to work every day about 5:30 and I wouldn't leave till about 5 or 6. So that became the norm, between the work stuff and the EPRs and just, I felt like I was going to see the first shirt 2 or 3 times a day, with that many people. It was just always something. So I figured, what's the best way to get in shape? I'll go and, go to basketball practice. So I go ask coach. I said, hey, coach, can I come to practice? I just want to, do cardio with you guys. He said, yeah, no problem. So for about 2-3 weeks, I'm just out there doing cardio. Beginning of practice, they run, do all this stuff. I do that. Then I get my bags going to the house. Then he goes, hey, so I was thinking, you want to help us, in practice every now and then? I need a couple, extra bodies, I know you've been around at the time. I'm like 40. I'm like, sure, why not? Right? So I start practicing with him. They were getting ready to use safety. And he goes, hey, you want to go to use safety with us? I say, you sure? He said, yeah. I said, okay. So I killed myself in the gym about 3 weeks before we left. I'm doing 2-a-days. I'm doing all types of stuff. You know, my wife looked at me like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm locked in, right?" I'm like, I'm about to go make it happen. Went there, played a decent tournament. Definitely didn't embarrass myself. So that next season, heading into the season, I'm like, I'm a hooper again. Like, I'm back. You know, I'm like, let's go. And, you know, I'm sitting in the gym. A lot of you guys know, you know, a lot of bases, Saturday morning basketball is sort of a big thing.
Yes, sir.
So we're late at Heath, and, you know, we playing Saturday morning ball. We just finished. And, you know, the guys are talking about the base basketball team. And they're like, yeah, well, you know, this guy named Dan is going to coach us. And, Pete, you should help us coach. Help him coach. I said, help coach? Man, I'm trying to play. What are you talking about? So I'm sitting over here mad. You know, I'm like, what the hell they mean? You know what they trying to say to me? Right. So they lead the gym, and I'm sitting there in this meeting. This one retired senior master sergeant, Vernon Turnbull, which is crazy because his son is Lieutenant Turnbull, the station here in Luke now, and plays on the team. Right. And I can remember his son being there in the gym with us, and at the time he's about 11 and 12 years old. It's funny how life works, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and he's talking to me, and he's going, so you gonna take him up, you know, to coach? I said, hell no, TB. I said, first of all, I don't know nothing about coaching, man. I'm like, I really don't even know what them dudes do. I don't want nothing to do with that. He goes, well, I'll put it to you like this. If they ask you to coach, it's because they respect you and they think you know basketball. Otherwise, they wouldn't have to ask you. It's like, you think they ask you because they don't think that you know what you're doing, even though you don't know what you're doing?
Right.
And I said, damn, okay. I said, all right, fair enough. So I said, all right, I'll do it. So I was assistant coach under this guy named Dan. But whenever we would seem to go to Germany, Dan would never make the trip. Something always came up. Now, I'm just assistant coach. All I want to do is like sit there and like count fouls and, you know, just, hey, man, you got it. You know, I'm just sort of here, right? So I go there, and first game, you know, we're about to take the tip, and everybody look at me like, Coach, what we doing? And I'm like, shit, I don't even know if I got my clipboard, right? So that's where it all started. He ended up leaving during that season. And our first year, we made it to the youth safety championship game and lost to a stacked team over there in Germany. Fast forward, I come here to Luke. I get here in 2012. I was assistant coach here. A lot of people don't even know that, for a guy named Monty when I first got here that first year. But that team, it was extremely civilian laden team, and quite honestly, we were very bad. Mm-hmm. We were very bad. So after that year, I decided, okay, I'm through with basketball, because, you know, it was just a lot of things going on, and, you know, and I was like, I don't want no conflict over, you know, military basketball. I'm not gonna fight with coach over this, you know, because it was certain guys on the team that wanted me to stay, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do that to him. That's not how I do business. I'm like, he was here, it's his team. God bless you. Go ahead. So I forgot about it. Fast forward 2018, I'm coming to Luke and I'm watching games, and I see Pete's over here coaching with another guy. Can't remember that guy's name.
I can't. His name slipped me off top. Yeah, off top of my head.
Not Kendrick, but I can't. It'll come to me during the show. Yeah. So something happens. I know you had stepped away from it, and he stops me in the gym and he goes, "Hey, man, I heard you used to coach a little basketball." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, we might need a coach." I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Well, you know, Pete's not coaching anymore. You know, looks like I'm gonna have an assignment, and yada yada yada." I said, "Okay." I said, "Okay." I tell you what. I said, "I ain't gonna make no promises." I said, "It's what I do, though." I said, "I'll come to practice. Just let me come to practice, hang out, and get a feel for this, because coaching really wasn't in my mind." Mm-hmm. He said, "Okay, no problem." So I go to my first practice. You know, the guys are coming in, because I used to come watch you guys play. You know, I was one of the few fans sitting over there, because I'm like, oh, they playing. You know, I'm gonna go watch, right? So I'm sitting over here, you know, and I'm talking to London and Boyd and them dudes, and like, and man, y'all need to be better. You know, I used to always mess with them, like, y'all need to be better. And he introduces me to the team, and right after he does that, he goes, Hey, by the way, this is y'all new coach. I didn't bring a whistle. I'm just coming to watch. I'm really like, I want to see what y'all do. Let me hang out for a while and then let me see, right? Yeah. He's like, this y'all new coach. So they all looking at me like, and I'm like, well, I'm guessing y'all new coach. And that's where I've been here ever since.
Man, that's a crazy story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what you got?
Yeah. So, piling on top of that. So now that you got, a couple championships under your belt and experience, who's like a coach that you want to like emulate your coaching style toward? Like, I know you have your own, but like, is there a coach out there you inspired? Like, hey, this is who I want to be to, get my team to realize this about basketball and life.
Bobby Knight.
It's a couple. Honestly. I played for a guy named Joseph Triggs at Edwards. He's called him Boogie. Best coach I ever had when I was in the military, because I think he was the first coach I ever had that was really structured in the way he did things. At the time, I'm a veteran player, and I still talk to him every now and then, and I tell him, some of the things that you do, I still do as far as like the secondary break. I still run the secondary break that I learned under him. I just thought he was a very good coach. When I first started coaching, my guys were Tom Izzo and Shaka Smart.
Oh, damn.
Those were my guys that I really, really watched a lot. Shaka Smart, because of the way he was just on the sideline, the intensity. It was almost like you almost felt like he was playing. And Izzo, just because of the amount of plays that he ran, and I always felt like I was learning something watching him. And I know you guys been stationed overseas quite a bit, and they used to remember they had the AFN commercials. They used to have the AFN commercials where they used to show Michigan State, and they had a couple of plays, and one of them was called Hands Down. I still remember, and I remember watching that commercial, and every time it come on, I would run in the room and sit there and stare at that commercial because I'm like, I'm going to learn this play. So those were my first two, I would say, inspirations. Now I watch a lot of Ty Lue, Steve Kerr. Yeah, Ty Lue, just because of his demeanor and how he carries himself during the game. Yeah, he's never rattled. He's always in control. Dan Hurley, offensive genius. I watch Connecticut, and I won't see the same set twice in a game. Does a lot of elevator things. Does a lot of things off rub screens. A lot of zoom action. A lot of grenade handoffs. Very, very,
they said he's trying to be the head coach of the Lakers. Like he's in contention.
That's and wild. Calvin Sampson. I watched Calvin Sampson from Houston, and my guy Brad Underwood from Illinois. Because of what they do on the defensive end, especially Underwood and Sampson. So I would say that those guys are guys that I really watch, and I learn every time I watch them coach.
Yeah. Man, that's crazy. So I guess we have a question. I don't really want to ask this question, but Dana says, how does a basketball coach effectively coach a loser cannot play like Dominic Peterson? I don't know who we're talking about.
A loose cannon player.
Oh, a loose cannon player.
Said loser player.
Yeah.
Loose
cannon player. So how do you coach your loose cannons?
Your hotheads.
I don't have them because
you do.
That's something that we don't go through during the game because I'm the only hothead during the game. So we is part of the culture. Something I don't believe in, like players getting texts, is part of it. The discipline is instilled since the day one in training camp. There are some guys that's more emotional, and that's fine. You can be who you are, but you always got to keep it within the team concept.
Yeah,
that's so I don't deal with a lot of that type stuff. I'll just sit you over there and let you go through whatever it is you're going through, and we'll talk about it after the game. Because honestly, Not all, but a lot of guys that do that is a matter of them being unselfish at that moment. And at that time, they put themselves above the team.
Yeah.
That's why I don't allow that stuff, because it'll spiral. And at that moment, they will make it about them. In the last 5 minutes, they will get a doggone tech because they didn't like a foul call, and they're making it about them instead of about the bigger picture, which is the team. So you have to curtail that. And at the end of the day, players will always say the same thing: Coach, I just want to win. And I see that with a lot of NBA guys. Coach, I just want to win. I'm passionate. No, you don't. You want to win on your own terms.
Yeah,
but you don't want to win on our terms, and that's the difference.
Yo, Faith said, you coached in the same way you coach Daniels in the world. Thanks, Faith. We love you, Faith. Dana, don't worry about Hooked on Phonics. Hooked on Phonics is so old. Say it's like Chat GTP or something. Say something that's like dictionary.com. Say something more relevant. Can't just keep going the same thing. Oh, we're going to get into the WNBA. So, matter of fact, we'll get into it right now because we like to ask our questions from our audience. Dale, take this one so I don't look like a fool again.
Oh, I got you. All right. Dana Council, also known as Philly DC, says, what does the coach think, or what does Coach P think about a player like Caitlin Clark? How will we handle a player polarizing such as here, and they join his team? He can't talk. How would he?
Yeah,
how would you balance? Yeah, how would you balance their impact versus other players?
Well, so basically, what you're talking about is like a guy like a Darian Donald that came to our team, all Team USA performer. I think the first thing you do with those players is you have to immediately let them know that they aren't bigger than the team, that they're part of the team. Now, understand it's different on that level, right? Because you're dealing with sponsors and salaries and media and interviews and all those things, right? But behind closed doors, what you have to do is you take your best players like a Caitlin Clark, right? Is something that I do with guys that I've heard NBA coaches talk about. I heard Eric Spoelstra talk about this. If I'm going to have a film session, when we have a film session and we're going through that part of things that we didn't do right, I'm always going to start with him. Mm-hmm. I'm always going to start with my best players. And I do a little thing I do where I line everybody up, and I line everybody up 1 through 18 or 20, no matter how many players I got. Learned that from Coach Triggs at Edwards that I mentioned earlier. At the time when he did it, I thought it was brutal. The way he lined us up and went 1 through, I want to say at the time, 17, and like, this is what you do. This is why you're here. And at the time, I'm like, damn, Coach, this is sort of tough, right? But it was brilliant because it establishes roles. Because a lot of times you'll hear players go, I don't know what my role is. No. We're going to establish that in front of everybody. There are really no secrets here, right? So with her, I would do the same thing I did with Donald. You're my best player, which means you can't just get the most points. You got to get the most rebounds. You got to get the most assists. You have to take the most charges. You have to be best at everything if you're our best player. Mm-hmm. And that's how I would handle her and remind her that, yes, when you're the best, then you're heavy as the head to wears the crown, right? Mm-hmm. So you're going to get more credit for when we do good, which means when we are doing good, you're going to get that as well. That's how I handle those type players to make sure that they know that they're part of the team and not separate. Not, well, this is me and that's those guys. They lost. I did my part, but they lost that game. That's something you can't never have. Also, too, that garners respect from the rest of the team when they see that, especially when that player accepts that. Because if I could get on Darian Donald and tell him, hey, man, that was some BS during film session. Of course, when I get to the 12th, 13th man, he ain't going to have no problem with it, right? Where coach is running into trouble is when they don't do that and they don't hold those guys accountable. And they hold the back end players accountable. Your 8th, your 9th man, you're getting on him about turnovers, but not your best players. So you have to always make sure to balance that out.
But I guess what happens when you have, and I don't want to call them a losing team, but I mean, they're a team that I'm talking about Caitlin Clark. I think she plays for the Fever, but I think their team only won 2 or 3 games out of I don't know 6 or 7.
3 games now.
Yeah, but they're on TV like every game. So I guess how do you handle the best coach, or excuse me, the best player on your team when you have a losing team that you can obviously tell you're not going to win a lot of games? Like, yo, just go out and get yours. Don't worry about it because we'll be better later.
Because winning is part of the process. I mean, losing is part of the process. It's very hard and very rare for any team or any coach to come in and automatically have success. You know, I look at when I first got here, 2018, we won the Pac West tournament, went to the NBA Finals, won 2 games, lost a game in overtime. That was done. That 2019 season, we weren't a very good team. We're about a 500 basketball team. When COVID came in and shut us down in 2020. You know, when everybody walks in the gym and they look at all the banners we got up, they don't remember the losing before those banners, right? And if we don't go through things we went through, like in 2018 when we went to the NBA Finals and when we had 6 players in 2019, and I always tell people that was a very important year because that was a very important year for myself because I felt like I learned a lot and I grew a lot from everything that we were going through and losing those games. I knew what it was like to go to a tournament and go 0-3 and get a t-shirt and then come back home. Right. So a lot of my guys, they don't remember that. You know, now when we go, we're either winning or, you know, we're winning games, we're in a Final Four. We're always doing something, you know. So a lot of those guys don't know what it's like to go there and go 0-3, be done on Saturday and your flight not till Monday. We went there. We went to the NBA Finals in 2019 and we went 0-3. We lost the game to the team that ended up winning the championship by 8 points. I only had 6 players. One of the guys fouled out. I had to play. The second game we lost to the Air Force prep team in overtime. The third game we were playing Cannon. They were ranked 5th at the time. We have 6 guys. They're up about 14 points, and we rally and win that game. And that was one of the most important wins that we've ever had because I think that let us know that we can do it. Right? So that's part of that process. And that's what you have to instill in your team. And I'm looking at these questions right here, and it's always Jordan over LeBron. I mean,
we're gonna get to that. Yeah, we can get to that.
Yeah. I was saying that for the last question.
Dale has the question for you.
Yeah, and I know the coach at DM. Yeah, he is. He's a cool dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of these tournaments and stuff like that, so with college, you know, coaches have the benefit of getting film from games and stuff like that. So how does it work for Air Force? How do you got or not all armed forces? How do you prep for teams that y'all never seen or played before? Or do you just worry about your team specifically?
Well, it's a combination. There's a lot more film out there now on teams because teams put a lot of their things on Facebook. So that's where I do a lot of scouting. They'll go or the tournaments. I watch tournaments in the past that teams go to, and I watch them play. That's why.
You're proactive.
Yeah, and Luke. That's why when a lot of times during our games, they're like, Coach, you want us to go Facebook Live? And I'm like, no, I don't put a lot of our stuff out there because quite honestly, I don't want people to see. So that's how I do a lot of scouting, just picking up tendencies and plays. Because if I watch a team play, I'm going to figure out your sets there very, very quickly. But mostly, like you mentioned, I always worry more about us than the other team. I'll just look and see, some of the strengths and some things we want to take away defensively. But otherwise, it's always us and playing to our identity. I don't worry about the other team. I make them match up to us. I'm not going to never match up to them, or think about changing my starting lineup because, they play 4 guards. And no, we're going to do what we do. And, we will match up and they're going to have to figure us out, So that's how I handle that.
Okay. Man, that's crazy. Real quick. If you haven't been on vacation, it's time to take your ass on a vacation. Time to get out there, get some sun, especially I know it's summertime, so get out the hot weather, get some tropical weather. Go see my friends at Valor Vacations, our veteran-owned franchise specializing in cruise, land, and tour vacations. They proudly support our military friends and families and are committed to finding special rates and discounts for you. Whether you're celebrating a milestone event or just want to get away with some loved ones, their team can help you plan a perfect vacation tailored to your needs. They already helped myself. They helped a couple other members I know, some cruises and things like that, all inclusive tours, all inclusive events. Go to their website, check them out. But their in-depth knowledge, personal experience, and strong relationships with crew lines and tour companies will help guide you to your best vacation options. Contact them at 1-855-VALOR-ME. That's 1-855-825-6763 for personalized assistance and special offers. Shout out them for being the sponsor of the Unpopular Celebrity Podcast. Getting right back into the thing. So we'll go. I know we said we're going to save it for the end, but I want to get to it. Just real quick, Dana says, who your best basketball player of all time, LeBron or Kobe? Or I say Kobe. Jordan or LeBron? We'll add Kobe in there.
It's definitely the GOAT, which is Jordan. When it came time to dominate, we've never seen a player dominate. I was looking at one of his numbers the other day, and in the finals, when he averaged 42, 8, and 6. You know, those things are just unreal. He was the first player that made it cool to be a two-way player, where you had to dominate on the defensive end also as much as the offensive end. When I talked about that process, being a Bulls fan, I watched him go through that process. You know, this was before team building. This was before where you have guys that, you know, these superstars, but they'll go through a decade where they're running around building teams to win championships. You know, where I'm going to go to this city and do this. Okay, well, if they're getting old now I'm going to go back home because we have a young superstar and we have the number one pick. We're going to trade him and get another ready-made player. Okay, well, if they're getting old, well, time for me to go here and do that sort of thing. So definitely to me, Jordan will always be the GOAT. You know, LeBron's a hell of a player, but that's sort of that new era of basketball. That's sort of that passive-aggressive team building aspect that I don't like. You see it in the military with a lot of teams where they bring in all these, civilian contractors and dependents and guys from other bases. And that's not my thing. That's why, it's only active duties member here at Luke. That's all it is. That's all I'm going to coach because I do it for them and for nobody else. And that's sort of my mentality. And that bleeds over into to NBA. So to answer that question, unequivocally, Jordan is the GOAT. But I give LeBron a nod, man. He's played a real long time. And I'm sure he'll keep playing, and make sure that his son is on his team and do those things that LeBron does.
Moving pieces.
Yeah.
Hey, so as a head coach, when you look for your team captain, are you necessarily looking for who's the best player or character? What do you see when you pick out that's going to be my team captain? That's going to be my eyes on the floor type player.
Leadership. Guys that's gonna hold themselves to a certain standard that the other players can look at and see that they're going to do it right every day. Guys is going to buy in. And I also use my captain since I don't have an assistant coach. Captain is also my sounding board, right? Mm-hmm. So I need guys that when I ask them questions about practice schedule and things like that, guys is going to tell me the truth. I don't want you to always agree with me. If you don't think it's the right call, be like, no, coach, we shouldn't do that. And here's why. And sometimes I'll go, okay. Because right now, like Boyd and Donald are my captains and Vinny. 3 veterans has been with me for a while. So I need guys this real good leaders. It's not about being the best player, because that's very important to me. That's a very important position because a lot of times, before games or after games, I'm going to always, defer to the captains. Hey, you have something to say? There's certain times where I ask the captains to speak. There was a game we were playing when we went to Texas this year. We were playing on Mayport, and we were down 23 points in the first half. And I called a timeout, and it's a team is coming, boy looks at me and says, Coach, I got it. I said, okay. So I let him have the huddle. You know, I stepped to the side. I let him have the huddle. We broke. I said we was going to run. We came back and won that game.
That's
you know,
awesome.
So that's the important role that captains play. So I definitely I need leaders more than anything. So it's not always about the best guy. It's about the best leaders.
Hey, on that note, so you're the head coach, right? Easily sounded, easily put. So you call it, say you guys are down by 3 or down by 2, 10 second less, 10 second left in the game type of situation. Are you the type of coach that goes for the win? Are you the type of coach that just says, let's just get a good shot? Or are you the type of coach that says, we're drawing up a play for this specific player, for this specific situation?
So it's 10 seconds. We're down 3?
Down 2.
Down 2, and I have the ball?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm running one of my plays. That's why we practice them. That's why we practice. We practice in the game situations all the time. And we have certain plays that we're going to run at the end of the game. So based on what I've seen throughout the game, I'm going to run a play. And it's not so much per set for a player. It's a lot of variables that can go into that. For instance, if we've been playing this team and I noticed they haven't been communicating on none of our elevators, then yes, I'll run that elevator for Vinny. Now, if I know that they've been communicating on our elevators and they stopped our elevators, we have a counter for that because we have slips. So I run a slip like we did to Navy for very situation you were talking about. We ran a play and they thought it was going to be one play and they were hollering it out and they were like, here he come. And Sutton slipped right to the basket and laid the ball up. Yeah. So is part of a setup. So in that situation, I'm running around one of our plays and I'll take the 2 or the 3, long as it's a clean look.
And that's my question. That's my question. So, like Vinny's one of your sharpshooters, right? But the whole team knows that. Your team knows that, the other team, especially in the course of a game when he's shooting, 7, 8, 9 threes a game. So they know if that play, the elevators for him, he's going to come out and they're going to double team, triple team. So are you okay with anybody taking that 3, or like say one of your big men or one of your not good 3, because some big men can shoot? Or are you saying like, bro, I know you're probably going to get a shot at the top of the key, but I need you to drive in and get a better look? Is that part of the conversation? Yeah.
Well, typically the guys that I'm going to put out there at the end of the game like that, all 5 of those players I trust taking that shot.
Okay.
All 5 of those players I trust taking the shot throughout the offense, because we'll talk about that. If the team does this, hey, this is going to be open. If they do this, this is going to be open, right? So we'll sort of go through those scenarios. Then it's basketball. So sometimes once you break the huddle, all that sort of goes out the damn window anyway, right? So now we're playing off instincts. And as long as the guys take a clean look, I'll live with the results.
Right.
Long as we don't force it, I will definitely live with whatever happens. Because sometimes you're gonna make the shot, sometimes you're not. Right. So long as we get a good one, I'm okay with it. And I'll support it.
Real quick. I don't know why this dude's even on here, but if the game is online and you need someone to take the shot, who are you picking, Dell or Dominic Peterson?
Hey, we got to prove that on Monday. We got to do that tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to see.
That's crazy. That's crazy, Coach. That's crazy.
Hey, don't sleep on it, Coach.
Crazy.
Don't sleep on it.
I don't know.
Don't sleep on it, Coach.
I know Pete pull. I know Pete gonna shoot it. I know. But see, Dale might take a good shot. I know Pete gonna take any shot.
Hey, first available.
Ask Darren. Ask Darren. He'll tell you I'll hit it before Pete.
Yes, I think I can trust Dale to take more of a shot that's in our offense. But I know Pete go, as soon as he get it, pull. He letting it ride.
Half court. 1 step in front of half court.
Man.
Pull.
And then when he missed, and I go, Pete, we could have got a better shot. He go look at me in all honesty and go, Coach, I was open. That was a good look. So yeah. So
right. Exactly.
Hey, you already know. That's me to a T.
I already know.
Yeah.
Did you feel that airspace I had?
Oh man.
I already know. Pull. I already know.
Pull.
Yeah. So speaking of that, so there's been a lot of words chirping about the AAU youth basketball being watered down because of players like Peterson that shoot threes and dunk, and that's all they play AAU just to create YouTube highlights and not actually play the fundamentals of the game. What are your thoughts on today's AAU and youth organized basketball before you get to like the collegiate level?
Not a fan of it. Last time I watched the AAU game was a summer ago, and it's gotten to a point to where, and I it's funny because last week I was at a cigar bar and I was talking to a guy that coaches AAU, and it's gotten to a point now where it's just about playing time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about playing time and winning and not developing. And I coached a year of high school 2 years ago over at Centennial, and I learned a lot about that. And I watched how the coach had to interact with parents. And it was at that moment that I knew that I don't want nothing to do with high school.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, but considering the small amount that they make here in Arizona, which is about $4,500 per year. So, they're working a normal job, and the amount of time that those men and women put in, nothing but respect for high school basketball coaches, because they work extremely hard. They're working damn near at a college pace, because the coach that I was under was an ex-college coach. Hell of a story. Guy was in the military. David Grace. Guy was in the Air Force and went from being in the Air Force, went from coaching AAU to coaching in California for Michelle Obama's brother, Oregon State, UCLA. He was on the UCLA coaching staff with Steve Alford. So he recruited Lonzo Ball and all those guys. He has some great stories. Wow. He was in China. Remember when they got arrested?
Yeah.
He was in China. Yeah. He explained that story to me, exactly what happened, because he was there. Wow. And he ended up his last collegiate coaching job as he was at Vanderbilt under Jerry Stackhouse. When I forgot to mention him, coaches that influenced me a lot, because being with him a year, being able to sit down and break down film with him a year, and just being in his practices and in his environment, this is a D1 coach, helped me immensely, because a lot of times I would ask him things like, why do you do that? You see it. Like if you go to the gym in Luke now, you see that blue tape in the middle of the floor. Mm-hmm. That's something that I stole from him. It's where you do your shell drill. That's a no drive line. And I've seen that on college basketball courts before, those markings, but I never quite understood, like, okay, why is this? And, he explained, this is why we do this. And I'm like, all right, that's why usually in our gym, you'll see that blue tape in the middle of the floor, because we use it for our defensive drill and our defensive principles.
Yep. Hey, so we're getting something a little juicy, a little controversial. So you coach women, all Armed Forces team.
All Air Force, yeah.
All Air Force. Okay, sorry. All Air Force team. So with that, coaching men, we'll just say WNBA, NBA, why do you think the WNBA, do you think the WNBA will ever level the NBA is? And if not, what will it take?
I don't think it'll ever get there, because quite honestly, women don't care enough. I always say that the WNBA, women's sports, will never grow because women, and I always use my wife as an example, they don't care like we do. We're fanatics, right? We're going to do whatever we can to watch games. We follow teams, as you can see, my White Sox, horrible. They might lose 120 games this year and set the record. But here I am watching them on Sunday, right? They're coming to Arizona next weekend to play. And I'm going to see them play, right? That's the way we are. Women tend to be more responsible than we are. So they'll do other things in life, and that's why
it's just a game.
Right. It's just a game. And that's why I use my wife as a classic example. Ex-college basketball player could care less about the WNBA.
Right. That's crazy.
Right. So I think that's why they will never be on that level. Now, can it get better? Yes. There is a difference between coaching women and men, which I found out.
That's what I was about to ask you next. Yeah.
Yes, women are very detail orientated. The difference between women and men is if you tell men we're going to run this play, men automatically, you have a gym full of basketball savants. Well, coach, we shouldn't do this. I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this. Well, why don't I do this? Why don't I do that? Right? Everybody knows better, right? You always got to exert your dominance, right? Women, you tell them to do something, they're going to do it. Now, the drawback is the creativity when that doesn't break down. If I tell men, hey, we're going to run a middle ball screen, pick and roll, 1 and a 4. They automatically will go and know exactly where to go on the court.
Mm-hmm.
My 2 shooters will automatically go in the corners, and I will put somebody else will automatically go up to 45. If I tell women we're going to do that, they're going to go, okay, where do I go? Okay, so now I have to put everybody in their places and then tell them exactly what to do. And I'm not saying that as a knock at all because they're very detail orientated. And I will say this, they pick up on things quicker.
Mm-hmm.
I could show them things one time and they would get it. I used to always tell them, you guys are so much smarter than my men ball players, because I will show them our plays in the morning session. They come back afternoon and they have it. I have guys at Luke, when we run 2, we've been running for 3 years, and I still got guys that have messed up a move. And I'm like, we've been doing this for 3 years. How do you not know where to go right now? Like,
right.
How do you not know where to go? So when it comes to that, they're definitely more intelligent, and they pay attention. They're going to do it first, and then when it don't work out, they're going to look at you and go, okay, now what, coach? The thing with men is they're going to challenge you from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
The women are at least going to try to do exactly what you tell them to do. They're going to do it. So you got to be careful with that, because if you tell them to, they're going to do exactly what it is you tell them to do and nothing else. That's why sometimes when you watch like young girls play, especially like high school young girls, you ever watch a freshman, girls team, somehow watch during the game, you're going to see somebody go set a pick on air. You're going to watch it, right? Because that's why during practice, right? That's where that pick was set. That's where that defender was. So during the game,
muscle memory.
I'm going right here. Now, even though that defender moved and I should have went over there, coach, because when we was practicing, they told me to go set it here, and y'all shaking your head because y'all both seen exactly what I'm talking about. And you like, why did she just do that? It wasn't even nobody over there. Right. And that's the difference. But at the end of the day, they all hoopers, and they think like men, and they talk like men, and they could be brutally honest with each other, and they get on each other. Coaching ladies at that level was a pleasure. It was real good. First year we won silver, last year we won gold. This year I'm supposed to be switching over to the men's side, but when it comes to all Air Force sports, is very political, so I don't consider nothing, until it's done. Felicia L. Ferguson, I know her.
That's like my very first supervisor when I came in. Hooper, super hooper back in the day. Man, she could hoop. She had this spin move that was so nasty with the ball, but she probably don't remember. That was a long time ago. My boy Wembley just got in here. I don't know if you know Wembley at all, but he's the hoop too. But anyway, Del, go ahead.
Okay, I got one last Caitlin Clark question. Do you think us as Team USA missed the mark on putting her on the women's team, or do you think this was like a humbling experience for her to be like, hey, you can't get everything you want type deal? Not saying that she wanted it, but just to humble her a little bit. Which side of the spectrum you were on why she didn't get chosen for Team USA? And did we miss the mark?
I'll put it to you like this. If I told you a player was shooting 37% from the floor, 32% from the 3, and leading the league in turnovers, and I told you her name wasn't Caitlin Clark, will we even be having this discussion?
Nope.
About her being on the Olympic team? Nope. Now, one can say from a marketing aspect, are they missing out? That could be true. I do think there's some truth to the report, right or wrong, because she's so polarizing. And the media is so wrapped up in everything that she does that I do think there is something to the point of, okay, if we have her on the team, there's other ladies right now that's more developed and they're better right now, right? So she's going to be a complimentary piece. And does Don Staley and the rest of the coaches and the rest of the players want to answer a question after every game of why didn't she play more?
Exactly. Yeah.
She checked out with 2 minutes left in the fourth and she never came back in. At some point in time, is she going to start during this tournament, coach? Is she going to be pushed up in a rotation? Because that's what it would be. Not Caitlin's fault, but that's just what it would be. And quite honestly, I think at this point in time, they just don't want to deal with it. And the timing is just bad for her because, she just came off of college and it's like right into the Olympics. If it was another year to give her a chance to establish herself, prove that she's worthy, which I think, she will over time, prove that she's worthy, then we wouldn't even be a discussion. But right now, there are other ladies. The only person I think looking at that team, some people mention Diana Taurasi because I'm just looking at the guard position. Diana Taurasi, but this will be her sixth goal that she's going for. That's a vet. Also, you can look at Chelsea Gray, which I think she's been hurt quite a bit this season. Those would be the two players. Brittany Griner and other people. Those are bigs, and so you're only going to take a certain amount of wings and bigs and guards. So I think that's the difference. Personally, I don't have no issue with her not being on the team. I get it. I get it from a basketball point of view. I get it.
Right. So let me take you, and we got a couple people down here back in the day. So I used to play base team basketball back in the day, way back in the day. But we used to get a lot of support from the base. Is that still kind of the same thing? Because, of course, you repping Luke, right? And you can talk about Luke. You can talk about whatever team you want to. But we used to get a lot of support from our base. And usually the support would just come with money and fans. That's really all we need is money and fans. Is that really the same thing going on now? Or is it I know, things have changed since COVID, sports in general. But what about the men's base basketball team?
As far as support, no. Let me just tell you how difficult it is nowadays. You're having a base team tournament, for instance, Labor Day tournament, right? You will go, we need to get this out to the base. What's the easiest way to get this out to the base? We'll send it to PA. Because PA are the people that can send those emails, to everybody, right? Everybody's going to get their emails. You'll send it to PA. You know what PA will tell you? That's a Bryant Fitness Center function. They need to put it on their homepage.
That's crazy.
So we can't use PA to send out a base basketball team game. They will tell you to put it on Bryant, which you have to pray. But how many people watch the Bryant Fitness Center page? Right?
Yeah.
So that lets you know what we're up against. Now, I will admit that we do get more support than some bases. There are some bases where they even have to pay for their own refs. All right, for home games. For yes, that's the state of military basketball. So I tell my guys, I'm like, even though we don't have what we want, we are better than some. So we'll count our blessings for what we do get. So what we basically get, the fitness center, they pay for 2 home weekends for our regular season. We get 2 home weekends. Sometimes we get a van. Sometimes, because we always have to put a request in. Last time it was denied. There used to be a gas card with the van. The people here at Luke told me that program was gone, but when I just went to this tournament in Philadelphia, other bases are telling me they still have the program, so I need to engage with them on that as far as what's going on with the gas card. And when we go to nationals each year, they pay for our rooms, but the flights and everything else we pay for. Now, when it comes to funding, it's very frustrating to me, quite honestly, because the position I'm in, especially with, GPC and things like that. And at the end of the year, I see all this fallout money. And I see I'll literally see, hey, you have to spend $5,000. Figure it out. You guys have to spend 10,000. You guys have to spend 20,000 because we all know the way budgeting works is the worst thing you can do is never spend all the money in your budget because next year you ain't gonna get it, right? So you almost got to spend it, right?
Right.
But it frustrates me because I'm like, man, of all the money that is forced spent on this base, if we could just get 10,000 of that. I don't want 50. I don't want 40. I don't just give us 10,000. With what we have now, the support we have now, 10,000, I can really take care of the guys. Because that's my whole thing is to be able to take care of them to where when we go on trips, take care of their rooms, have a designated van with a van card. That's all it asks. Even things like buying our uniforms, we'll continue to buy our uniforms, because the fitness center doesn't buy uniforms. If the fitness center buys uniforms, they're only going to buy a certain amount. They won't be personalized. You have to give them back, all that jazz. So they almost put you in a position where you have to buy your own damn uniforms, right? So, if the base could take care of that. When we won a Labor Day tournament this past year, the general was there. And, I spoke. And, basically was like, hey, these guys represent the base well. It'd be great if we could get some more support. I said it very politically. I wasn't disrespectful or anything like that. I choose my words wisely. I know how to talk in front of a crowd, so I said it in a very professional manner. And he was like, Coach, we'll definitely look into that. And nothing's happened. I was part of an email chain where this one major that was advocating for us, he sent an email up to the wing exec. CC'd me on it. Hey, these are some of the concerns that the coach has because I sent it to him. Like, what would you like? I sent it to him, and the wing exec was like, yeah, we'll engage, the general on this, blah blah blah, and nothing's never happened.
Yeah.
So when we won the our second NBA championship and came back, I fought for the guys to get wing recognition. In my opinion, I thought wing recognition would consist of them being able to meet and greet with the general. Of course, they all act like it's not a big deal, but of course it's a big deal, but they too cool to admit it, right? And I just wanted them to honestly get coined and get like a one-day pass. That's really all I wanted. And, we show up that day and it's funny because of course nobody cares, right? But I'm watching everybody walk in and their uniforms pressed, and it went and got their hair cut.
Right.
I'm just watching from the side. I'm laughing because, of course, they're like, man, Coach, I don't care. But I'm like, and it's good to see that because that's what being in the military is all about. You're about to meet the boss, right? So that's cool. You should be that way. If you're not, then I'm really going to be like, okay, what's wrong with you, right?
Right.
So we go into the room. It's the wing stand-up deal. So, all the commanders are there. We bring in all the trophies. We got a whole lot of them. So we all bring in the trophies, and they clap and stuff. And that was sort of it. And I walk out and I'm like, what happened? And I immediately went back to the gym and I was like, talked to our gym lead, Mr. Bingham over there. And they put it in the package for them to be, coined and get a day off. But it didn't happen. And to me, that I was very disappointed in our base when that happened because I saw the look in their eyes. I'm a civilian. It ain't nothing you can do for me, and that's cool. But for them, I really felt like an opportunity was missed, and I really, like I said, it really messed with me because I could see the look in their faces. That they were really disappointed in that. And to me, that small token could have gone so far.
Oh yeah.
Just to be able to coin, grip and take, salute that one-day pass would have made a big difference to them. And when you can't do little things like that, we talk about, I'm gonna get off into something else here real quick. We talk about, resiliency and taking care of airmen. But I don't think people realize, like I sort of alluded to you guys at the beginning when we started talking, how much sports means to some people.
Right.
And you have some supervisors, I've heard it. Well, you didn't join the military to play sports and things like that. But you have to realize, to me, when it comes to, if you're gonna make concessions for a member to go to school on duty, you should make them same concessions for them to play sports, especially when they're representing their base.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We allow members to do a lot of things during duty now. Then back in my day, I remember when I first actually go to school, they said, "Don't you have enough work to do?" And I was like, "Fair enough, right?" that was the 90s, right? It was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? No, we're not moving shift, man. We need you on swing shift. I was like, okay, cool. Nowadays, if that was to happen, I would go to complain, probably to the first shirt and go, "Shirt, they didn't let me move." And then I would make some phone calls and let's get what happened. Daniel's going to the shift that he needs to, right? So when we talk about, resiliency and mental health and things like that, and I say it in a jokingly manner, but I'm serious. It's like that kept me going, right? That kept me going and inspired me, and mentally that was good for me to be able to go do that. So one thing that the NBA has said that they sort of stand on, the organization that we're part of, is during this time frame since they stood up in 2018, we haven't had any suicides or any suicide attempts from anybody involved in the basketball community.
Gotcha.
Now, when they talk about airmen, it seems like when they care, unfortunately, is when something happens.
Mm-hmm.
When some young airman in the dorm, takes his life or something like that, then we shut down. Now we want to talk about it. Okay, what happened? How can we take care of the airmen? Yada, 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 right? Okay, well, the airmen say they need this, so let's go, put them new video games in the community center, and let's make sure that the pool is up and running, and we right. So we do all these things, and that's great, right? But then when it comes to other things like this, they turn a blind eye, and I'm like, where is that same support? Where is that same compassion when you have airmen from Luke that's asking for what is very minimal support, very, very, very minimum support? So with that being said, I know the fitness center does what they can do, but overall, big picture, Luke, I do not think that they do enough to take care of the airmen.
But it is more than other bases do for theirs.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But I feel like we could definitely do more. And those other bases, like I said, it's really bad when you have to pass the hat to pay for referees.
That's crazy.
Where you're at home.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Last question. Wrapping it up. All right. So, all things come to an end. We retire from things that we love. So what's one thing that you want to be remembered as a coach once you're done coaching, from your players that you've coached like in the past, that they can say, Coach P taught me this, or this is what I'm gonna remember him by? Just a few.
I think that you always want to be remembered for being a better person in whatever your profession is. Mm-hmm. And I would hope that they remember something that I've taught them that probably honestly has nothing to do with basketball. That's awesome. That's what I would hope. We do something where very unique, that I don't know if any other team does, where I have these player contracts, and the shirt here knows about these, and it's standards and conducts on there for everybody that plays on this team. And one of the things that I always talk to them about is being the best airman you could be. I always tell them you got to have 3 things in order to play on this basketball team. That's work, finances, and your house. You have to have those 3 things in order, right? So being responsible, being a man, being a leader. I'm always on the guys because, everybody, I'm a grown ass man. I'm like, well, you can't pick and choose when you're a grown ass man, because that means being responsible, right? If you say something, that means doing things the right way. Integrity, doing things right when nobody's looking. So I would hope that one day when, I'm done and I moved on and they look back and they think, Coach P, I would think those are the stories that we talked about, some of the talks that we've had, where we've talked about, Coach, what do I need to do for this? I would hope they remember the time where I get guys test dates. When do you test for tech? Next Friday. Okay, great. You're not in practice this week. No. You're not in practice this week. You won't come. You're going to. So I would hope for those are the things that they remember. The times that I sent them home, from practicing for them to study. The times where, my whole thing is having everybody on that team 100% enrolled in school. The times that, I'm like, hey, man, I need you in the education office. You'll see a lot of my guys coming through there, and there's a reason for that. Yeah. So I hope that they will remember that more than, a defensive slide technique or anything. I hope they take away from that too as well. I always get them called back. I'm like, man, coach, I should have never left Luke. It's different when I go someplace else and play, right? I always get those calls, why did I leave? But that's honestly what I would like the lasting legacy to be, is that they became better airmen and better people by playing on the basketball team, if that's possible.
Yeah. Awesome. Hey, can you have too many good players on one team? Like a all-star team, like a Olympic team?
Yeah. You can, and it's funny that you say that, because going through this all Air Force process, and that's one thing that me and the other coaches are talking about now, is when you're building a team, you have to have guys that's going to accept their role. Right. And we've already talked about that, right? You can't have a bunch of alpha dogs there. You need someone that's going to accept their role, because that 10th, 11th, and 12th man, let's be honest, you're probably not going to play. It's just honest. Rotations are typically 9, maybe 10 deep. Right. It's the harsh reality of business. I tell guys all the time, hey, I'll dress 15, I'll play 10, I'll trust 5, right? That's the harsh reality of what it is that you do. So it's very, very important to make sure that you pick the right players, especially for those roles, because I've seen it. I've seen it on the girls' side. We made a mistake with the player 2 years ago, almost sending her home, and she was a good player. And I watched what happened with the men last year. So yes, you can't have too many, because at the end of the day, I always tell coaches, players are liars, right? In a certain respect. They all tell you what they want to hear, right? So players are always going to tell you, coach, I'll do whatever it is. I just want to win, coach. Whatever role you put me in, coach, I don't care. Coach, I don't even care if I do play, right? As long as I'm on a team and I get to support, I'm good. Everybody's going to tell you that, because nobody's ever going to be like, coach, I just want to let you know, if I don't play, bro, I'm going to be real disgruntled over here. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to be a pain in your ass. My energy going to be bad. You know what I mean? I'm going to become that cancer where I'm going to try to spread through the team, because because we've all been on these teams before. When you get that cancer, he always want another one, right? He ain't going to be mad by himself. Now he want to pull you to the side. Hey, Dale, you see that shit coach do, man? Right? Yeah. So now after he get Dale, you go get Pete, right? Now, Pete, you go get so-and-so. Now we got, right? So that's how that spreads, right? So you have to be very important. It's very important to make sure that you make those right decisions. And that's why, as a coach, you have to sort of see through players when it comes to certain things. That's one of the things all Air Force we're already talking about. It was a guy that was on the team last year that brought something to me while I was coaching the women that I remembered. And because of that, he won't be on the team this year.
Oof.
Because he was complaining to me about playing time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you've already let me know what type of player you are.
Selfish. Yep.
So that guy, I don't know if he remembers the conversation, because I remember it. And because of that, I already told the other coaches, we're not even fooling with him.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So yes, yes, you can have too many good players, right? All-star games are different because, it's fun. Nobody really cares. You win, lose. But when you get into like Team USA or all armed forces sports and things like that, it is very important to make sure that, those guys on the back end, you have to pick guys that can play, but also guys that have the right attitude that if they don't play.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'll end it. I say, first of all, I appreciate you for coming on here, sharing your insight with basketball knowledge and general knowledge all together. Appreciate what you're doing for the men of Luke Air Force Base right now and in the future, along with the contracts and then the all Air Force team, men's basketball, women's basketball as well. So really appreciate that. And I get a joy of working next to you every day, laughing, joking, coming over there and just chopping it up about whatever. So I appreciate you.
Good time.
Appreciate you for coming on. Definitely. Dale, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Echo. Yeah. Appreciate you, Coach, for coming on. Shout out to the Education Center. My boy, Dante Day, me and him at the tech school together. I know he works with you.
That's crazy.
I appreciate
That's crazy. So I didn't know that.
Hey, I got my CCF and my bachelor's out of Luke Air Force Base because of the Education Center. So appreciate y'all taking care of us and continuing being a great coach, not just for basketball, but just in life as well. So appreciate y'all tuning in on Sunday, and we'll see y'all next.
Hold on, Coach. We always leave the guests with the last word. Dale, hurry it up. Hey, go ahead, Coach. Floor is yours. Last words.
Yeah.
Celtics in 6.
That's crazy.
Tonight, take Dallas in the 7 points. Okay. Take Luka in the over for 31. Take Kyrie Irving in the over for 22. But take the Celtics in the money line. That's the parlay for the night.
Wait, so Celtics still going to win, but they ain't going to win by more than 7?
Less than 7.
Yes. You think Luka going to get 30 again?
32, and I think Kyrie's going to hit his 23.
You think Kyrie? Do you think? I think the Celtics are in Kyrie's head right now. He's going to have to go back home.
Well, he going to shoot enough tonight. He going to get his points one way or the other. He getting them up. It might not be efficient, but he's getting them up. But otherwise, hey fellas, thanks for having me, man. I love doing things like this, man. Talking sports and stuff like that is like natural, man. And you cats keep doing what you're doing, keep being successful, man. Shirt, SP. I know you say you PCS and you're about to leave soon. Where you headed to?
Coonson.
You ain't been packed till you been wolf packed. That was my very first base. So.
That's crazy.
Love it.
Enjoy yourself over there, man. And I appreciate what you cats do to still put on the uniform every day. Because if the balloon goes up, it won't be me. It'll be y'all. I'll be watching it on TV. So
that's crazy.
That balloon. Not the balloon.
All right, man. On that note,
all right now.
We out of here. Unpopular celebrities. We out. Peace.